anybody who's currently with us, I'm doing push to talk so you guys can hear us. Anybody who's currently with us, we're going to start doing the review of Skirmish 13 in just a minute. I've got Trouble2 and Nagatron with me, and so they will be joining me to talk about the matches. So I'm just going to give it a minute, and we'll chat about the games. So I guess we can talk, if you guys are paused at 20.
Yeah, stop the 20.
Yeah. So Nagatron, why did you stop doing skirmishes? Just throwing it out there. First questions. Just get us going.
We've done a lot of them. We were pretty happy with kind of how we were doing them as long as we were taking them seriously. And then it got to a point where Absolute Royal didn't want to lead them anymore. And I never wanted to lead skirmishes. I did a bunch of them last year, and I was just done with them. Having to get all the tanks and prep for them and everything's really annoying. Not that they're bad and whatnot, just as a leader, it's a whole lot of extra work, and I've got the clan and everything to do as well, so I didn't have the time. And then whenever Royal decided he didn't want to do it anymore, that was pretty much the last nail in the coffin for us.
Okay.
Well, if I could say one thing, is that's one of the problems with skirmishes, because they're every single week, and if you're leading them and you really want to win every single one, you do need to put a lot of prep into it. What type of tanks you want to run, what type of strats you want to run, a lot of time in training rooms looking around, figuring out what you want to do. And if you're doing that week after week after week, to be honest, 5,000 gold, it's a nice little chunk of change, but for the amount of work you're putting in, sometimes it really doesn't seem like it's quite worth it.
Although I've been doing these for a while now with Plaid, and that's half the reason I even joined Simp and started doing tournaments, was because when I started doing these, it was the replacement for Clan Wars. If you don't do Clan Wars and you spend a lot of time with skirmishes and then do other tournaments too, this is your new Clan Wars. You find new tanks and all, but I feel like the reward outweighs Clan Wars, because the payouts I would get in Clan Wars, unless you owned vast amounts of land, didn't quite own up to this for me.
Oh, I agree with you, but Ruukil, also think, since you came to Simp, you have stepped yourself down to just enjoy playing and not had to run anything, which is a mistake that I recently made. So you didn't have to put the retarded things into work.
Indeed. Yeah,
I enjoy it.
I did get to enjoy it, but I think that was just before. I didn't want to run Clan Wars for a long time too, so I started just running. I ran a few tournament teams, but I found out that I make better backup guy. I'm really good at making the backup alt calls and the little things like focus fire, while the boss, the brain, gets to just call out the big massive moves, gets everyone moved around. It's a group thing ideally where everyone contributes, but being not the top guy or being not the guy who has to lead a group, it's much better. Nice. I'm better suited for that, so that's what I do.
Well,
I think pretty much everybody that is a battle caller is better suited to be a second, because you don't have to deal with everything. It's the responsibility is not on your shoulders. But really, I think the people who are as seconds are people who obviously, like you're saying, know the game, but they're willing to, I don't know the right way to put this, not to be like mean about their second guessing. So if they had an idea and they didn't communicate it, and then the actual battle leader messes up, they don't come back afterwards and be like, see, we should have done it this way and I knew that. As long as they're able to stay civil and just be supportive and inside and outside of battle, then that's a true second, in my opinion.
The Riker to your Picard.
Exactly, but with a lot less trombone and beard.
Hey, I play the trombone, and I'm trying a beard.
Look, on that note,
I think you rival Soviet in silky smooth face competition.
You haven't seen me, Naga, since it started growing out more. It's getting there. The gap is
getting
there.
You have to try pretty hard, though. Otherwise, it's taking you 6 months, and you've gotten about, a millimeter now?
No, south by southwest, I'm maybe a quarter inch.
It's 1.5 millimeters. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Some of them getting about a half inch almost on the chin here. So I'm getting there, Well. Okay. Anyway, so I think we've given it a little time, and we can just start. So I'm at 20 seconds. So let's first take a look at the teams. We've got Dopper, Doc, Golem, Savage E Striker, Wooter, Canaduck, Lithos, Mercules, and the Bum. So as far as the war teams, I think most of these guys are regulars. I don't recognize Wooter. I don't know if he's been on war teams a lot, but I know Dopper. Most of the guys here have been on these teams, so this is a pretty solid team, and they're not bad, but they definitely had a slump for a while and have come back. And in this tournament, they actually make a pretty good showing. And then
Yeah, they even put a good showing in the last two skirmishes. They may not have won, but I know they were actually doing quite well throughout the tournament.
consistently, they're one of the best teams in any skirmish. So then we have the Plaid team. So we've got Chimera, Speed Weaponry, Akiyama, Treeburst, Trouble2, Millard, Crimson Corsair, and Kill Panic. Most of these guys, I think Chimera's the newest guy. Most everyone else is a good part of the team. Trouble, you're newer to the team, so
Yes.
we're not used to seeing you, but
New addition, but yes, Chimera
we picked him up.
he's more filling in for the tier 3, just to kind of get his feet wet with some tournaments, because this actually would be his first tournament that he's ever participated in.
Indeed. All right, so now that we've gone and we've looked at the users, we've got to look at the tanks. Cruiser 4s, 2 of them for Plaid, and 3 T-127s, along with a T-57 Arty, Cruiser 3, and a T-1. What do we think of that lineup, Negatron?
You got a lot of hit points, and you got some pretty good guns, especially with the cruisers. The T-57 is awesome, but at the same time, for this particular map, I think the Bison might be better from River of Blood. And then on top of that, they've got a lot more mobility, and considering your size of vehicles, it's going to be a lot easier for them to hit you with a Bison.
Indeed. The Bison's not going to have any trouble hitting Cruiser 4s, the Cruiser 3, and the T-127s won't be as hard, whereas Panzer 1Cs are really small. And as you can see, currently the tank that I'm on, played by Doc, the Panzer 1C is a tiny little tank. So I'm going to get it rolling, and here we go. So 18 seconds left, and this is the pregame. We've got... sorry, I'm going to make the map a little bigger here for everybody watching. And we've got River Blood starting north. They've got the north side, and Plaid is south. And we're going to see where they go.
Just want to confirm, what time are you at, bro?
We are now going. We've hit 9:55.
Okay, so I'm around there with you.
Okay, so it looks like they're going to send the T1s to watch the valley, along with having Canaduck in his Bison watch mid with a T1, and they're sending most of their force over to the city.
That Bison's actually a really nice position if they do a derp straight up the middle. He could cause a lot of damage very quickly and tuck away.
And he's right there. He's just inside. Ooh, a lot of tanks going down the middle there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just 3
That's gonna make it easy for
T-127s.
side shots,
Oh,
and they're
that's a
gonna be
nice
driving
crash.
directly into that.
Sorry, go ahead, Nanga.
Right now, all 3 T-127s trying to go up the middle. Panzer 1Cs are not going to be able to pen them from the side as easily, but it looks like the Cruiser 4 is putting in work.
Indeed. There's a lot of hit points lost and not a lot of damage done. There's only a little bit of damage done to Mercules in his T1. And really the HP advantage is starting to go towards River of Blood.
Oh, it definitely is. It's a big problem losing that much HP that early in the game without putting anything back.
Yeah. And we're not seeing really, we're just now seeing the first tanks that were not in middle. So we're really wondering where was, the Simp guys. They're kind of cut off from each other. One group is in mid, and there's maybe a crossfire, but we're seeing them at the church now, and war slows down and starts to wait for, they're looking around.
One thing I think war does really well here is the way they're using the 1Cs is they're not trying to do a mass group. They're trying to get really nice spread through the town and let Simp make the mistake of coming into them. They have a lot of different angles to fight Simp from, and they're really well spread out. I think they have really good map control right now with their 1Cs.
A real big point on that is not only do they have them kind of pinned in that area? They have them pinned in arty lanes. So any place they're trying to come around a corner, the Bison can hit them straight in the face. And it's
Absolutely.
worth mentioning that Bison was able to get away from C4 all the way over to A8, which is a huge, huge win for River of Blood here.
Yep. And now the first engagement happens. And the PZ-1Cs start focusing fire, and just huge amounts of fire coming out of them, and they destroy the 4 tanks that are back behind the church. Even Millard in his T-57 is back there, which I don't think is the best position. It's an interesting way of doing it, and I think they weren't expecting that aggressive of a move on them in church.
The only thing I can think there is that Simp was trying to get the T-57 into that area to fire kind of behind the hill there at like B3, B4, probably assuming that there was a little bit more tanks for River Blood there. But a pretty classic mistake, 2 of them actually. 1, lack of vision, and 2, massive separation in their team, leaving a lot of avenue for River Blood here to exploit it, especially with their speed and all those Panzer 1Cs.
Exactly. And they definitely saw that. They saw that, and they jumped right on the group on the church. They knew the 127s were completely cut off and could not support them. So when they saw those tanks, they decided time to go in. And the 1Cs at close range like that completely obliterated those Cruiser 4s with no real armor.
Yeah, without the armor, the Cruiser 4s are pretty much mincemeat for the 1Cs, and I think it was a big problem with the northern position for Simp. Apparently didn't see the 1Cs coming in, and it looked like they were all very out of position when those 1Cs came around.
Indeed. And that first match, that's the first match of Skirmish 13 finals going to war. And now, yeah, very handily. All they have to do now is find Kill Panic and finish him off.
Don't be too hard. I'm assuming he's probably somewhere in the 1-2 line, just kind of maintaining a passive spot on the valley. Although after the action went, he really started running and finding a good place to hide.
Actually, in this game, Kill Panic disconnected and is AFK.
Even better.
T1 is not moving.
Oh, but his D1 was still passive in the valley. Half right.
Well done.
Half
Very
right.
well done, man.
Alright, that's the first game right there. Alright, so our next replay is the 2136.
Loading it up now.
Yep. Anyone joining us now, we are reviewing the Skirmish 13 finals between River of Blood and Team Plaid. We've gotten through the first match, and just to remind you guys, with me is Nagatron and Trouble2. And I am Ruukil. In case no one knew.
You want us waiting at 20 again?
Yeah, wait at 20 again and we'll get started.
For anybody watching, if you're thirsty, you should go get a Dos Equis. It's quite a nice beer, very refreshing.
I'm glad you think so, Trouble.
What time did you say to stop it again?
20 seconds in the battle countdown.
Good to go.
Good to go. Alright, so begin. And in the second round here, Trouble, why don't you explain what the teams have brought and any changes?
Wars brought the exact same lineup that they did, which is Cruiser 4 and 4 Panzer 1Cs, 1 Bison for support, and 3 T1 Cunninghams, most likely just to do some passive scouting, see what Simp's going to be doing. In this one, Simp's changed it up. They've brought 3 Cruiser 4s, a single Panzer 1C, a T-127, which has very good armor against 1Cs, a T-57 arty, a Cruiser 3, and a T-1 most likely also for passive scouting.
We'll also notice that they have a slight change in the lineup. Ruukil, myself, is actually in this match, and a user called 07 from JLA playing the T1.
Note that since Ruukil came into this match, it is a guarantee loss for Simp.
More cruisers is better than the T-127s for sure. However, I'm guessing just a lack of Panzer 1Cs or something faster here. I would think on Lakeville you'd want to go with a very agile mobile lineup.
Indeed.
I agree.
Yeah.
I believe the mobility is very important on this map.
A little background just to give out why I think Plaid did not bring the 1Cs is that I think they had some pretty bad experiences with them early on in the tournament, and just the decision to go with Cruiser 4s. the leader of the group, Miller, decided that they would go with Cruiser Force, so they did, and they had some decent experience with that, successes, against some other teams, but these teams were not, of course, River of Blood, one of the more capable teams. So